Welcome to Crime 411 with me, Melissa Marquet. This story should outrage every single parent who has a teenage son. This young man, Joseph Hosler, was arrested. He is now in jail on a $300,000 bond for the rape of a child, exploitation, sexual exploitation of a minor, and having child pornography. The media outlet that published this story basically just put those very few facts out. And now his family and his friends are receiving death threats. They are all over Facebook and social media talking about hang him, kill him. Well, let me tell you what, that media outlet that published this story is very irresponsible. When you publish a story and it's a crime that is going to clearly go to trial, or even if it's not, you have an obligation and a responsibility as a journalist to put out all of the facts and not sway what people think about something by only putting out partial truths. So that is why I'm covering this story. This young man was not hunting a young girl to have sex with. This young man was in a relationship for 3.5 to 4 months with a girl that he believed was 16 years old. Not only did she tell him that she was 16, her mother told him that she was 16 years old. The girl's own mother was telling him, yes, she's 16. Okay, this young man was not only in love with this girl, he was trying to help her. Her mother is allegedly a drug addict. And so he was helping to pay some of the bills at the house. He spent like $300 on groceries because there was no food in the house. She had siblings. This young man was targeted and used by this young girl's mother because she saw an opportunity to have him pay for things. And she would rather have pimped her daughter out, so to speak, than to be honest about her age to protect her child. Now, there are only 5 states in the entire country that allow a mistake of age defense in court. The other 45 states do not allow that. Unfortunately for this young man, he is in Tennessee, and that is not a mistake of age defense state. So basically what that means is that anything related to how this situation came about is inadmissible in court. They are not allowed to talk about her past relationships. They are not allowed to discuss the fact that she and her mother both lied and told him that she was 16. This girl also told all of his friends and even the friends' parents that she was 16 and that she actually had just turned 17. I've spoken to the family. I've spoken to family friends. This girl was calculated in what she did, and it was deliberate. And I'm going to show you a picture of her because I'm not going to tell you how old she is just quite yet. But this girl looks every bit of 16 years old. Come on. 16? Yeah, I see that. Do you see that? Okay? This girl, and I get it. People are going to say it doesn't matter how old she looks. But how is a young man supposed to know that she's lying? Look at the girl. I mean, come on. Does that not look like a 16-year-old girl to everybody who's watching? Now, I said jokingly, this is insane. It's come down to where these people are going to have to start, asking for identification before they start dating people. And I looked that up to see, is that a defense? Like if she had shown him, say, a license or something like that, saying she was 17 or whatever, could he say, I saw her ID? No, he can't. It doesn't matter. Even if he were to have ID'd her, seen a valid ID confirming her age, the court would not allow that to be a relevant matter to the situation. And they would actually typically turn it around against him to say, well, you must have been suspicious about her age if you were asking for her ID. So not only would it not help him, but it would hurt him, which is insane. So I reached out to a lawyer named Jeffrey Lee. He's a Memphis-based attorney, Memphis, Tennessee, and he works with sex crimes. And this is what he had to say. I had emailed him and he said, I appreciate your point of view. I once had a case where we tried to introduce a photo of an alleged victim's fake age on her profile to show his basis for believing her age, and the court would not allow it to come into evidence because it was quote unquote not relevant. How is that not relevant? He said, of course, the jury would have found that very persuasive. I wanted to show the jury that he read that before he ever contacted her on social media. It put everything in a different context. Of course it does. The judge even ruled that I couldn't get the fact admitted to show her lack of credibility. He says it's disgusting that the jury cannot hear all of the facts, but the court perceives it as an attempt to jury nullification. In other words, to disregard the law as written and work backwards to achieve a more quote-unquote just result. Then the prosecutors in their closing arguments regularly have to make comments like, you may not like this law and you may not think it's fair, but it is your duty to follow it. So another defendant becomes a convicted felon and a violent sex offender for life. He says, let me know what you need and I'd be happy to help. Jeffrey, thank you so much for, communicating with us about this case, and I'm looking forward to having you on the show. But that just goes to show you, that these young men and women who are victims of a underage person lying about their age have no recourse, no defense. You should have known that she was not of age. How? How would he know that? I really want that answer. I want to know, how would he know that this girl, who she and her mother both said was 16, was, are you ready for this? 12. Hello? 12. This kid is 12? I'm sorry. Really? How are you going to hold this kid responsible? He just turned 18 himself. How are you going to hold him responsible and say that he raped this girl? He should have known she was underage. How the hell was he supposed to know that when her own mother was lying and she looks like that? The fact that these details are inadmissible in court should infuriate anybody who's watching this right now. And I hope you'll subscribe to Crime 411, because I am going to have his mother, Joseph's mother, is going to be a guest on the show next week. She's coming into the studio and I'm going to talk with her. We are also going to have Jeffrey Lee, the attorney in Memphis, come on the show as a guest as well. But this is absolutely appalling that this poor kid, his whole life is ripped out from under him. And he honestly, genuinely did not know he was doing anything wrong. In fact, he thought he was doing something right. He loved this girl. He actually wanted to marry. He told his mother he wanted to marry her and get her out of her situation she was in, because her mother wasn't, a good mother, and he was buying groceries, all this stuff. This kid, not only was he not doing anything wrong to his knowledge, he was doing everything right. He was treating her better than her own mother, who was basically pimping her out so that somebody would help pay her bills. Okay? Now, what's even worse is that criminally, you cannot criminally charge someone if they lie to you about their age, and you cannot criminally charge their parent if they lie to you about their child's age. Even if he had gotten a notarized letter from this girl's mother saying, my daughter's 16 years old and I approve of this relationship, boom, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What is this person or somebody in this situation supposed to do? I have a son. This terrified me. Now, he's only 6, but after this, he won't be dating until he's 46. This is not acceptable. In Europe, the mistake of age defense is across the board because of situations like this, where the rapist, because he didn't rape anybody, is actually the victim. And the fact that the jury in this situation will never hear those facts, let whoever might be sitting in that courtroom hear those facts right here on Crime 411. And I hope that people take these things into consideration in these cases, because this young man just had his life taken away from him by a 12-year-old girl. 12! She looks like this! It's crazy. Anyhow, again, Make sure you subscribe to us on Crime 411 so that you get notifications of the episode that his mother will be on the show. You can also follow us on Facebook. We are on Twitter, Instagram. Our website is crime411.org. Again, I'm Melissa Marquet. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you will follow up with us on this story.